We're going to talk about the four-sided matrix of baitcasters today. All right, so let's get right into this because this is going to be the beginning of some Baitcaster 101, and we're going to be doing a lot more of these. Maybe not with the four-sided matrix and drawings on the board, but I've got a lot of Baitcaster videos coming for you. All right, so let's jump right into it. Essentially, you see that you've got to match your rod, your reel, your lure, and your line all with each other. Okay, and that's what this little diagram means on the board. All right, so you also see I have some ratings up here. All right, some line size ratings, some reel size ratings, some lure sizes, and some rod classes. Okay, what these are broken up into is red, green, and blue. All right, I color coded them. So essentially the whole theme of this video is you don't need to match blues with reds. You can get away with green and red and green and blue, but you don't want to match red and blue together. Okay, so essentially everything on the board other than the 30-pound line, which we'll get into in a second, is almost too big for inshore fishing. This is more near-shore type stuff, and I don't see us using them very often as a bait caster. Okay, if you go near shore and you start targeting grouper, cobia, things like this, then you definitely want to look at these red numbers, but from now on, basically for the rest of this video, we're going to talk about the greens and the blues, and the green is kind of the sweet spot where you want to stay. All right, so let's get right into this. Medium light to medium, okay? That's where I like to stay. I throw mainly medium rods, and I have a couple of medium lights. All right, light is extremely light and a little bit too much of a buggy whip for me. Some of you may like that though. All right, now that's a preference thing. What's not a preference thing is the ratings on the rods. There is a line class rating on the rod and there is a lure class rating on the rod, okay? Very important that you don't go past those and you try to stay within those ranges. All right. If you load up a huge line, huge lure, huge bait caster on a rod that's not rated for it, and you go out and snap that rod, that is not the rod manufacturer's fault. That's your fault for not staying within those guidelines. Okay. So very important on the rods that you stay within the guidelines. Now, rods match with lures very importantly. Okay. You can't throw a 16th ounce on a bait caster, especially. You can't throw a 16th ounce with a medium heavy. What's going to happen is you're not going to be able to load your rod all the way on the cast, and you are going to sacrifice distance and accuracy. And accuracy is one of the main perks of a bait caster. Okay. Let's talk about that cast real quick too. A bait caster cannot do a half loaded cast or a dart cast. It must be a backstroke fully and it bends and you load the rod on the backstroke, and then on the forward stroke it counterloads fully as well, and then you release. Okay, it is a much longer stroke, and that is very important on a bait caster. You don't want to try to flick the lure out there with the bait caster. You're going to backlash and you're going to hate it. Okay. There are ways to do shorter casts and shorter flicks and stuff like that, but that's advanced stuff, and your first time, I don't suggest you mess with that at all, okay? So lures matching with rods, super important, okay? Half ounce to 1 ounce, you can pretty much load anything up here on the board with a half ounce to 1 ounce lure. A little harder to load the medium heavy, but you can get it done. All right, half ounce to 1 ounce is also pretty heavy for us inshore fishermen. All right, we essentially throw 16th ounce to 3/4 ounce pretty much exclusively. 1 ounce is a really big lure. Okay, that's a very large surf lure or nearshore lure to be 1 ounce or above. All right, your biggest topwaters are 3/4 ounce. All right, and essentially that's about the biggest we throw in the inshore shallows and flats, and the type of inshore fishing we do with speckled trout, redfish, snook, and flounder. Okay, so the green, and over here with the line, there's actually, let's talk about that line because it kind of comes with a caveat. Now, for you beginners out there, I highly suggest you start with a 30-pound braid. Okay, 20 at minimum. 20 pound is significantly more difficult to pick out than 30. 15 is more difficult to pick out than 20. Okay, so what I don't want to happen is you to put on 15-pound braid, go out there, or even worse, 10 or 8, go out there for your first time, cast with a dart cast, a little flick cast, because you're used to using a spinning gear, and you end up backlashing, and now you can't pick it out because it's too thin, it's line dug, and you don't have the skills to pick out yet, and on your very first day, you throw this baitcaster in the water and you pick your spinning gear back up. That's not what we want to do, okay? So to ease that learning curve and to increase quality of life out there for you beginners without the experienced thumb yet, and without the backlash picking skills yet, I suggest you start with 30. The better you get, you can work your way down, okay? Now, I fish with 20, 15. I have a setup that's 10, but the majority of my setups are still 30-pound braid, okay? This is the way. All right, so let's get into the reels. Guys, a 150, a 200, a 150 to 250 size bait casters are actually very large, all right? I don't fish anything over 100 anymore. I have one setup that is a 150 size, and you can throw 1.5 ounce lures with that, way bigger than anything I throw inshore, okay? So my largest setup is a 150. My smallest setup is a 30. Yes, they do make 30s. Most reels that I would suggest for you guys to start off would be the 100 size baitcaster, okay? So right here, I would suggest starting with a 100 size baitcaster, putting 30-pound braid on it, or 20 if you insist, or if you're in a fishery that requires that. I realize there's some of you guys in Florida, y'all have such spooky fish, high-pressured areas, 30 may deter your bites, but it can deter bites, but it isn't going to cause you to throw baitcasters away and never look back. All right, so I still suggest 30 or 20, no matter where you're fishing in the United States, okay? Small baitcaster, and with 100 size, you can cast anything in the green and blue down here, all right? Now, with your line, we already talked about working your way down. What you don't want to do is you don't want to have too big of a lure with too fine of line, because when you do backlash, you're going to lose your lure. It's going to go sailing to Jamaica, and you're going to be upset that your brand new $15 topwater just went to Jamaica, okay? So I suggest that you always use a leader, but that you match these two. That's very important, all right? Now, let's talk about rods and reels. Why do we need to match the rod with the reel? Drag, and the reason is that the other ones all match. You can't throw light stuff with a large spooled baitcaster, okay? So if the lure has to match the reel and the lure has to match the rod, that means that the rod has to match the reel as well, okay? So I don't suggest that you take a 50 size baitcaster and put it on a medium heavy. I suggest you use the 150 size baitcaster for the medium heavy or above. Okay, 250 is fine. You start getting into 300, 400, and again, we're talking nearshore stuff. All right. So you're starting to kind of see the theme of this is you've got to match all four of these together, and you want to stick with the same colors near each other. We don't want to match blues and reds. That's going to get you into trouble. All right, guys, if you have any comments, any questions about this video, please leave them down below, and you can always hit me up in the community. I'm going to be making a bunch of these baitcaster videos for you guys, and hopefully I can get you guys comfortable with baitcasters, because I do feel that they are superior for fishing with lures. All right, plus the baitcaster is the way.